So you know how sometimes you're just minding your own business and something weird happens that completely throws you off? That's exactly what happened to me last week. I was working from home, which is pretty much my daily routine now. It was one of those rainy afternoons where the world outside felt gray and sleepy, and I was deep into a design project, headphones on, music blasting. Anyway, I heard a knock at the door. I pulled off my headphones, thinking it was probably one of those delivery drivers who just leave packages at your doorstep and run. But when I opened the door, there was nothing. Just a small brown box sitting there with my name on it. No return address, no note. Just my name written in neat block letters. At first, I thought it might be something from an online order I'd forgotten about. You know how it is. One minute you're buying a cute pair of shoes, and the next you've got a whole closet full of stuff you don't remember ordering. But this box felt different. It had that unsettling vibe that made my stomach drop a little. I brought it inside and set it on my kitchen table. The rain was pouring outside, and the sound of it hitting the windows felt like an ominous soundtrack to what I was about to do. I grabbed a knife from the drawer and carefully sliced through the tape. As soon as I lifted the lid, my heart started racing. Inside were photographs, lots of them. At first glance, they looked like random snapshots of me in various poses around my house. Sitting on the couch with my laptop, making coffee in the kitchen, even lounging in my pajamas while binge-watching some show on Netflix. But as I flipped through them, a chill ran down my spine. These weren't just casual photos, they were taken from outside my house. I mean, who was watching me? The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. Someone had been lurking around my home, snapping pictures of me without my knowledge. My mind raced with possibilities. Was it someone from the neighborhood? A creepy stranger? Or worse yet, someone I knew? I tried to shake it off. Maybe it was a prank? But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. The photos were too detailed and too personal to be anything but sinister. I felt like I was being suffocated by this invisible presence that had invaded my safe space. That night, I locked every door and window in my house like it would somehow shield me from whatever nightmare had just unfolded. But sleep didn't come easy. Every creak of the house felt amplified. Every shadow seemed to dance menacingly in the corners of my vision. The next morning, I decided to take action. I called the police to report what had happened. They asked if I recognized anyone in the photos or if there had been any suspicious activity around my neighborhood lately. Of course not. I hadn't seen anything unusual, just life going on as usual. As they took down my information, I felt this mix of fear and frustration bubbling inside me. How could someone invade my privacy so easily? And why? What did they want? Days passed with no leads or updates from the police. Each day felt heavier than the last as paranoia crept in like an unwelcome guest. I started double-checking locks and peering through windows more often than not. Then one evening, while scrolling through social media to distract myself, something caught my eye. A post from a local group about neighborhood watch meetings. People were sharing stories about strange happenings in our area. Unexplained noises at night and odd figures lurking in shadows. That's when it hit me. Maybe this wasn't just happening to me. Maybe there was something bigger going on right under our noses. So now here I am, more vigilant than ever, but also more connected to my neighbors than before. We've started talking more openly about our experiences, sharing fears over coffee instead of letting them fester alone at home. It's funny how one strange package turned into a community effort to reclaim our safety and sanity together. Sometimes all it takes is a little nudge for us to realize we're not alone, even when we feel most isolated. And honestly, that's kind of comforting amidst all the chaos. You know how I work those crazy night shifts at the hospital, right? Well, last week, something happened that I still can't wrap my head around. It was about 6 a.m., and I was dragging myself home after a particularly grueling shift. You know how it is, I'm basically a zombie at that point, running on fumes and dreaming of my bed. I get to my apartment complex and something feels off. It's hard to explain, but you know how there's usually some kind of ambient noise? Maybe Mrs. Johnson's yappy dog, or that kid on the third floor practicing violin? Well, there was nothing, just this eerie silence. At first I chalked it up to being early morning, but as I'm fumbling with my keys I realize I haven't seen a single person. No early morning joggers, no one leaving for work. It's like the whole place is deserted. I try to shake it off. I mean, I'm exhausted, right? My brain's probably just playing tricks on me. So I go inside, crash for a few hours, and wake up around noon. Here's where it gets weird. The silence is still there. No TV sounds from next door. No kids playing in the courtyard. Nothing. I decide to check on my neighbor, Sarah. We usually chat a bit when I get home, but I hadn't seen her that morning. I knock on her door and nothing. I try calling her phone and it goes straight to voicemail. Now I'm getting concerned. I start knocking on other doors. No answer. Anywhere. I head outside, thinking maybe there's been some kind of evacuation I didn't know about. But all the cars are still in the parking lot. There's no sign of any emergency. I'm really freaking out at this point. I try calling the building manager, but again, straight to voicemail. I even try calling 911, but the line just rings and rings. As I'm standing in the middle of the courtyard, feeling like I'm in some kind of twilight zone, I notice something. There's a piece of paper taped to the community bulletin board. It's a notice I've never seen before, talking about a community-wide event and the importance of maintaining silence. The language is vague, but there's something menacing about it, like it's a threat disguised as an announcement. I rush back to my apartment and start Googling like crazy. There's nothing on the news about any events in our area. No alerts, no explanations. For days, this silence continues. I've been afraid to leave my apartment. I've tried reaching out to friends, family, anyone, but my phone calls won't go through, and my internet is acting weird. It's like the whole complex has been cut off from the outside world. I keep seeing my neighbors through their windows. They're in there, but they're not responding to anything. They move around their apartments like everything's normal, but they won't acknowledge me or anyone else. I don't know what to do. Am I losing my mind? Is this some kind of mass hysteria? Or is something seriously wrong here? I've been keeping a journal, trying to document everything, but honestly, I'm terrified of what I might discover if I dig any deeper. So yeah, that's why I haven't been answering your calls or texts. I'm not even sure this message will get through. If you don't hear from me again, well, maybe check on that community-wide event at Oakwood Apartments. And whatever you do, don't believe the silence. Get this. Remember how I told you I was moving into my grandparents' old house after the divorce? Well, it turns out that was just the beginning of a wild ride I never saw coming. Picture this. I'm knee-deep in dusty boxes, trying to sort through decades of family junk. You know how it is when you're cleaning out an old relative's place. It's like an archaeological dig, but with more moth-eaten sweaters. Anyway, I'm in the attic, sneezing my brains out, when I stumble across this old trunk. It's locked, of course, because why make things easy, right? But after some creative use of a screwdriver, don't judge, I get it open. Inside, there's a stack of letters. They're all sealed and addressed to different family members, including one with my name on it. Now, I'm not usually the type to snoop, but come on, a mysterious letter addressed to me? You bet I'm opening that. As I start reading, I feel like I've been punched in the gut. It's from my grandfather, and he's confessing to this whole scheme. Apparently, for generations, our family has been involved in this elaborate psychological manipulation game. They've been carefully orchestrating major life events for each other. Marriages, career choices, even where we live. The letter goes into detail about how they influenced my choice of college, my first job, even my ex-wife. It's like my whole life has been some kind of Truman Show, but with my own family as the directors. Here's the kicker. According to the letter, it's now my turn to take over. There are instructions on how to manipulate my cousins, my sister, even my own future kids. It's all laid out like some twisted family tradition. I'm sitting there, surrounded by dust and old photo albums, feeling like my entire world is crumbling. Everything I thought I knew about myself, my choices, my life, it's all suddenly in question. Do I really love my job, or was I subtly pushed into it? Did I choose my ex-wife, or was that part of the plan too? It's like I'm looking at my life through a funhouse mirror, and I can't tell what's real anymore. The worst part? There's this small, messed up part of me that's almost intrigued. Like, do I have that kind of power over others? Could I really shape someone's entire life without them knowing? But then I think about how violated I feel, knowing my life has been manipulated like this. How can I even think about doing that to someone else? I haven't told anyone else about this yet. I mean, how do you even start that conversation? Hey sis, guess what? Our whole family is part of a multi-generational gaslighting cult. So now I'm stuck in this huge old house, surrounded by family heirlooms that suddenly feel sinister. Every photo on the wall, every childhood memory, I'm second-guessing all of it. I don't know what to do. Do I confront the rest of the family, burn the letters and pretend I never found them? Or do I continue the tradition? God, I need a drink. Want to grab a coffee? I swear I'm choosing the cafe myself this time. At least I think I am. So picture this. It's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, and I'm still glued to my laptop. You know how it is with these tech jobs. Deadlines wait for no one, right? I've got my third cup of coffee, I'm in my comfiest sweatpants, and I'm just trying to power through this project. Suddenly, my inbox pings. It's an email from my boss, marked urgent. Now, my boss emailing me at this hour isn't totally weird. We're in different time zones and he's an early riser. But something about this felt off. The email says there's this super confidential project that needs immediate attention. It's all very hush-hush, and I need to start working on it right away. There's a link to some files I need to download and instructions to not discuss this with anyone else on the team. At first, I'm kind of excited. I mean, a secret project? That's gotta be good for my career, right? But as I'm reading through the details, something starts nagging at me. The tone of the email just doesn't sound like my boss. It's more, I don't know, urgent? Pushy? I'm about to click the link when I notice something. The email address is slightly off. It's not my boss's usual address. There's an extra dot in it. Now I'm wide awake, and not just from the coffee. I start digging deeper, and things get weirder. The project seems designed to get me to access parts of our system I normally don't touch. It's asking for passwords, security codes, all sorts of sensitive stuff. Then it hits me. This isn't a project. It's a trap. Someone's trying to use me to hack into the company's system. I'm freaking out. I mean, what if I hadn't noticed? What if I'd just sleepily followed those instructions? I could have compromised the entire company's security. I could have lost my job, or worse. But here's the really creepy part. How did they know I'd be working late? How did they get an email address so close to my boss's? It feels like someone's been watching me, studying our company's patterns. I reported it to our IT security team, of course. They were glad I caught it, but now everyone's on high alert. We're all paranoid, double-checking every email, every message. The worst part is, I can't shake this feeling of vulnerability. I'm sitting in my home office, but it doesn't feel safe anymore. It's like the lines between work and personal life, between safe and dangerous, have all blurred. I keep thinking about how close I came to falling for it. One tired moment, one careless click, and who knows what could have happened. So yeah, that's why I've been a bit jumpy lately. Every notification makes me flinch. I'm working with my curtains closed now. Isn't it crazy how your own home can suddenly feel like it's not yours anymore? I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting. But tell me, have you noticed anything weird in your work emails lately? Maybe we should all be a little more careful. I need to talk to someone about this, and you're the only person I trust right now. Remember how I've been dealing with those anxiety issues lately? Well, things have taken a really weird turn. It started a few nights ago. I was getting ready for bed, just going through my usual routine, you know? Brush teeth, set alarm, double-check the locks, the usual stuff. But when I got to my bedside table, there was this note, in my handwriting. At first, I thought maybe I'd jotted something down earlier and forgotten about it. We all have those moments, right? But when I read it, my blood ran cold. It described in detail a conversation I supposedly had with my neighbor. A conversation I have absolutely no memory of. I tried to brush it off, but the next morning, there was another note. This one talked about a trip to the grocery store, describing things I bought and people I talked to. But here's the thing. I hadn't been to the store in days. These notes kept appearing. Sometimes on my nightstand, sometimes in my pockets, once even stuck to my bathroom mirror. Each one described events from my day. Except they weren't my days. At least, not days I remembered living. I started questioning everything. Was I sleepwalking, having some kind of fugue states? I mean, you know I've struggled with mental health stuff before, but this felt different, scarier. The notes were so detailed, so convincing. They mentioned conversations with friends, errands I'd run, even work I'd done on my laptop. But when I checked my computer history or my phone logs, there was no trace of any of it. I tried setting up my phone to record me while I slept, but every morning the recording would be stopped, with no explanation. I even asked my neighbor about the conversation mentioned in that first note, but they looked at me like I was crazy. Said we hadn't spoken in weeks, but last night was the worst. I found a note that made my heart stop. It described, God, I can barely say it. It described me doing something violent, something terrible. There were details about blood, about hiding evidence. I felt sick reading it. I've been tearing my apartment apart, looking for any sign that what was in that note actually happened. But there's nothing. No evidence, no missing time that I can account for. Just this horrible, nagging fear that maybe I'm capable of something I can't even remember. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to sleep. Afraid to leave my apartment. Afraid of what I might do or what I might have already done. I can't trust my own mind anymore. Part of me wants to go to the police, just in case. But what would I even say? Hey, I might have committed a crime, but I'm not sure, and the only evidence is this note I might have written to myself. They'd think I was nuts. I'm terrified of losing control like this, of not being able to trust my own memories, my own actions. What if I hurt someone and don't even know it? I need help, but I don't know where to turn. I'm scared of what might be happening when I'm not me. Or am I always me and just can't remember? I don't know which is worse. Look, I know this sounds crazy, but I swear, I'm not making this up. I need someone to believe me, to help me figure out what's real and what's not. Because right now, I feel like I'm losing my grip on reality, and I don't know how to stop it. So picture this. It's just another Tuesday night, and I'm sprawled on my couch in my tiny studio apartment, scrolling through Instagram like usual. You know, just killing time before bed. But then I see something that makes me sit up so fast I almost drop my phone. There's a post on my account that I definitely didn't make. At first, I thought maybe I'd posted something and forgotten about it. We've all been there, right? But this was different. The caption was weird. It said something like, loving the view from my secret spot. And the photo? It was the skyline view from my apartment window, but taken at an angle I've never used before. I'm freaking out a little, but I figure maybe I got hacked or something. So I changed my password, set up two-factor authentication, the whole 9 yards. I even post a story saying I got hacked and to ignore any weird posts. But then it happens again and again. Every few days, there's a new post or story that I didn't create. They're always just a little off, like they're trying to imitate my style but not quite getting it right. The captions start getting more personal, mentioning things only I should know. One post talked about how much I loved the mug my ex gave me, which I keep hidden in the back of my cupboard because I can't bring myself to throw it out. Another mentioned how I always triple-check the locks before bed, a habit I picked up after watching too many true crime docs. I'm seriously losing sleep over this. I mean, how does this person know these things? I've checked my apartment for hidden cameras, changed all my passwords, even factory reset my phone. Nothing helps. The worst part? My followers are loving it. They think I'm doing some kind of artistic project or social media experiment. The engagement on these mystery posts is through the roof. My follower count is skyrocketing, but I feel like I'm losing control of my own life. I tried explaining to my friends what was happening, but they just laughed it off. Maybe you have a secret admirer, they said. Or, come on, you must be doing this for clout. But I swear, it's not me. Last night, things took an even creepier turn. A live stream started on my account while I was in the shower. By the time I got out and saw the notifications, it had been going for 15 minutes. The camera was pointed at my empty living room, but you could hear the shower running in the background. I'm seriously considering deleting all my social media accounts and moving to a cabin in the woods with no internet. But then I think, what if that's exactly what they want? To isolate me. I don't know what to do. It feels like I'm going crazy, like there's another version of me out there, living a parallel life online. And the scariest part is, I have no idea who they are or what they want. So yeah, that's why I haven't been posting much lately. Well, I haven't been posting at all. Whatever you see on my accounts, just know it's not me. At least I don't think it is. God, I hope it's not me.
Thanks for joining us in the shadows tonight. If you enjoyed these chilling tales, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-tingling stories every week. Have you got a story of your own? Share it in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And remember, the darkness holds many secrets. Are you brave enough to uncover them? Until next time, keep your lights on and your doors locked. Sweet nightmares.